Welcome back to the Russ Sports Podcast. Thank you for sticking with us. Next up, we got NBA basketball guys, and we just got some a little bit of NBA rumors to talk about. We got James Harden and about how he gave his top 4 trade destinations, and this list is all contenders, all in the East. So I just got to hear it. What is the best option for his career? Now, this is important for his career. So that could mean as far as how many points he wants to score, how many chips he wants to win. It depends. It's just based off of what you guys think. So I got the Bucks, the Heat, the Nets, the Sixers, or staying with the Rockets. So I'm gonna let Brandon start this off. Brandon, what do you think is the best place for him?
Um, I mean, it depends on what the Sixers would have to give up for him, but I think honestly, I think they're not on the list, but I think that it's the Sixers. They could really do a lot of damage with him. But out of those teams, probably the Heat.
Yeah, I just don't see a way you can get James Harden without giving up Ben Simmons. So I mean, I think that's what you'd have to give up to like lose like maybe 2 other picks, first round picks, maybe one, because Ben Simmons is already an all star and stuff. So I mean, but yeah, that's pretty much what I think that they would have to give up. Savion, what do you think?
You said the Nets, correct?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I would definitely have to go with the Nets for him. Two of the top shooters in the world on the same team, just like Golden State had. I feel like they could have a super team. Considering Kyrie has amazing court vision or whatever, I feel like that would be perfect. Even though he's kind of one of those players that he plays better by himself. With him being the team leader or whatever, I feel like he plays better that way. But with going with these other superstars, I feel like that could just raise him up just even more and bring out his Mamba mentality.
How do you think that would work with the Nets with having 2 very ball centric players and also one guy who can become ball centric, but also learned under Golden State how to like share the ball and stuff? How do you think that would work in terms of like getting touches, getting buckets?
Well, I can definitely say like watching Golden State, everybody on the team could score anywhere on the floor. Anybody, I feel like anybody could shoot, anybody could make a layup. I feel like it's just one of those things that you just got to get used to. Because I mean, in the NBA, everybody can do pretty much anything in this era or whatever. So, I just feel like he'll just have to get used to it. No matter where he goes, there's always gonna be at least 2 people that are really good. So
I feel you, man. But that reminds me, I'm adding another topic that we got to talk about, and we're gonna talk about it right now. Wait, after Lucas goes, Lucas, please tell me what you got to say.
I'm gonna say the best move for his career would probably be going to the Heat. And I know they would have to probably give up Tyler Hero. I know they don't want to do that. I know he would probably be involved in the trade piece somewhere. But I think him, along with Jimmy Butler, it proves that he's not on a super team. So if he does win a ring, not everybody's going to think, oh, it wasn't legitimate because he was on a super team like they're doing with KD's rings right now, like they're doing with Steph's ring. Well, Steph won without KD one time, so I guess that's not really true. But what they're doing with KD, they're saying, oh, he didn't really earn those rings. He was just ring chasing. He wasn't trying to like better his career. And I think at the Heat, running an offense alongside Jimmy Butler, giving Jimmy Butler help because you saw him in the finals. I mean, he was leaving interviews with ice packs on both of his legs. I mean, he was worn out. So I think the Heat would definitely be the best spot for him to go in terms of longevity in his career.
I completely understand all of y'all's points. I I could see how all these work. I think the Bucks would be the most interesting and could end up being the most beneficial because I think the Bucks really every player on that team except for Giannis is replaceable. So if you put James Harden with Giannis, then you got Shaq and Kobe You could say 2.0 in a way, but I'm not going to say that. In a way, I'm not going to say
Yeah,
it.
don't say that. Don't
Yeah,
say that.
in a way,
Don't
like
say it.
perimeter play, shooting, you could say that,
I really
but
think
I'm not
that
going to talk about it.
you are talking to a Lakers fan right now. You got to understand that, okay?
Okay,
Don't be saying that.
but bro, you gotta admit that this would be like one of the all time duos if like this actually went down and won a chip. James Harden with Giannis, like come on.
Giannis is not Shaq. Harden is not Kobe.
Okay,
Don't
but Giannis
don't
is
even
the
put them
Shaq.
on the same level.
Giannis is the Shaq of this era. You gotta admit it.
But can Giannis play with another superstar?
That's the question right there. That's why I'm saying it would be interesting, but it could also turn out to be the most beneficial if it happened. Like if it could actually click. I think Giannis could play with a a great guard who knew how to distribute and knew how to also share the rock. James Harden, we don't know if he can do that yet. So this is all an if, like just a fantasy, like this could happen. But in real terms, I think the Heat would be a great option or the Nets. I don't think he should stay with the Rockets. 76ers would give up too much. Ben Simmons leaving, I just don't think it's good, you know. But yes, I'm adding a new topic because I've been hearing a whole bunch of talk about this, and I just got to hear what you guys got to say. So, you know how old players be like, "Man, I'd drop 40 nowadays. I'd go 20 for 20 from three." Stuff like that. But then you got new players, like young players, saying like, "Man, if you drop this guy back then, he's winning 15 championships." And I know it's Braun and stuff, but I like to read the comments section. On those posts, I like to read the comments section. So
You
I'll
like to get
scroll
in
through.
fight. You don't like to read the comment
Yeah,
section.
I like
You
to get in
get
those.
fights.
I like to get in tussles in the comment section, man. So I'll look through there and just see what people saying. And I saw one guy say, literally, you can drop any player from this generation back then, and they'd win 15 championships. And bro, I said it took everything inside me to not say anything to this dude, man. So I just
That
gotta hear
is a
what y'all
hot
gotta say.
take.
Like,
That is a hot take.
I I gotta hear it because I understand that players are better nowadays. Because I mean, you know, just the game evolves. It evolves. Players get better because you look at the players from behind you from past, and then you build off of that. Like the game always gets taller. It doesn't get shorter unless you just lose a great player or a great group of players, and then the game just doesn't have anybody to like substitute for that. But the game so far has. After Magic Johnson and Larry Bird retired, we had Michael Jordan. After that, we had Kobe. After that, we got Bron. Like the game always has the next ones up. But guys, what do you guys think about this? Like, neither side sounds right. I know some of these old heads. Reggie Miller, he's not going to come up here and drop 40 a game. He's just not. He couldn't even drop 20 in his career back then. Like, come on, man. Like, he's not doing that. But I don't even think LeBron could go back to the 1970s and win 15 straight. He's a great player. I just don't think that's because you're disrespecting the game when you do that. You're disrespecting the greats from past times. You're just saying that these guys don't compare, which I think they do because they wouldn't be greats if they didn't. So, what do you guys have to say about that, Lucas? I'll let you start.
Oh man, I mean, both sides are pretty radical in their thoughts, 100%. Because I mean, yeah, you can't drop Braun and expect him to win 15 chips in the 70s, but you also can't. I mean, you can't say that Dellavedova is gonna, I mean, Matthew Dellavedova,
It
he
just
ain't
doesn't
doing
make
anything on the
sense,
court.
man.
Yeah, like you can't drop anybody. I mean, you could drop stars and they would do pretty well. Uh, like you could drop, mid-level players from this era in like I'd say the 40s or 50s, and then they would start putting up like all-star numbers. But I mean, yeah, I mean, there's not really a right or there's not a right side to it. There's really not. But I mean, if I have to side with one or the other, I'm gonna have to say the old heads are more on track than the newer generation because I feel like they played through a lot more in terms of like foul calls. Like they didn't get the foul calls that people are getting now, and they were still getting buckets. So I think if they could still get those buckets while also drawing those fouls and getting to the free throw line, I think that is how they can eclipse, you know, maybe 25 a game, 30 a game. I don't think anybody's dropping 40 a game, but
No,
that's just me.
that's just disrespectful. I mean, Michael Jordan himself, like to me, I think if I think KD is the most talented and greatest scorer of all time, but I think Michael Jordan is like the most accomplished scorer of all time. If that makes sense. Like I
Yeah,
think
and
KD can get buckets on anybody, and
uh-huh.
and of course, like Michael Jordan's 6'6", so he's not going to always get buckets on Shaq. Like, come on. But KD, he's 6'11" and 3/4. So you like, dude's gonna get buckets on anybody within the range of 5'4" to 7'4". Like this brother can play with anybody. So I think he's the greatest and talented, most talented scorer of all time. But I think Michael Jordan's the most accomplished. I don't think Michael Jordan could come now and drop 40 and average 40 for a season. I don't think that's possible. Like that's
He doesn't have
disrespecting.
the three ball to do it. I
Yeah,
think is the
yeah.
thing because
But
the
oh, sorry.
go ahead.
But I will say, some of the greats, like you have greats, and then you have generationals, and then you have all time greats. That's how I like to think of it. Michael Jordan is one of those all time greats, and I think all time greats and sometimes generationals, no matter what they are, if they're so great at it, they'll change the game. Like I think Steph is an all time great generational type. When he came to the league, he changed the game. I think LeBron changed the game, bro. I think Kobe changed the game. I think Mike, well, Kobe just added to the game because he just did exactly what Mike did. But I think Mike changed the game because, like nobody was doing what Mike was doing back then. Nobody was doing what Braun was doing when he came in the league. Nobody had Braun's like stature, like that's insane. That's insane body type. And then like Steph coming in, nobody was doing what Steph was doing. But now you see the game now. We're all talking about you got to be able to shoot the three to be in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Savion, you go ahead and talk because I've been talking like the whole time, man.
Yeah, I just want to. I was gonna say, like, man, in like the 1980s, 70s, the 90s, they had some of the best shot blockers, in the world. Like, it was either you're a post or you're a point guard, really. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you had Jordan, which was a shooting guard, but I mean, that's really how it went. It was either a post, point guard, or shooting guard. I feel like Curry back then, if he was to go back then, he would be benched because of his shot, how he shot the ball, that the three wasn't as important as it is now. And y'all talked about how the game evolves, and that's what the new people today have done. I could definitely say there was better with all the better rim protectors. LeBron would struggle a little bit, but because of how good he is, he could adapt. Maybe not drop 40 points a game, but I mean at least a good 30 points per game or something like that. He could still be in that GOAT talk, but it would just be way harder considering, you had to score in the paint. The 3-point shot wasn't, it would get you benched really.
Brandon, go ahead.
Uh, just because the 3-point shot wasn't like uh as a high quality shot back then, doesn't mean Steph Curry isn't gonna still shoot 45 from three. And like if you're shooting 45 from three, they're not taking you off the floor. What are you talking about? So
Okay.
I think I'm not saying Steph Curry's going to drop 40. I'm just saying that I think that dropping these age players into the previous league, I think it'd be easier for them to score because they're just better shooters, and so that way they don't have to drive to the basket. They can do it in multiple different ways. With the people from the 70s and 80s to basket scorers, and